Hi, it's Panda Movies here. Today, I'm going to explain the movie called Blindness. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. The movie starts with a young professional getting blind in his automobile while driving through an intersection, his field of vision turning white. A seemingly sympathetic stranger offers to drive him home. He does, however, steal the blind man's vehicle. When the blind man's wife arrives home, she takes him to an ophthalmologist who finds nothing wrong with him and recommends him to a specialist for further testing. The doctor gets blind the next day and he realizes that his blindness is due to a communicable disease. More people are going blind in the city, generating widespread concern, so the government sets up a quarantine for the blind in a rundown institution. When a hazmat crew arrives to pick up the doctor, his wife pretends to be blind so that she can accompany him. The doctor and his wife are the first to arrive at the asylum and they agree to keep her sight hidden. They are joined by a number of others, including the doctor's driver, robber, and other patients. The white sickness has now spread worldwide, with hundreds of cases reported every day. To combat the disease, the government is using increasingly draconian measures, such as denying aid to the blind. Overcrowding and a lack of outside support cause cleanliness and living conditions to quickly deteriorate as more blinded individuals are forced into what has become a concentration camp. The doctor represents his ward, and his sighted wife does everything she can to help her fellow convicts without exposing her abilities. Anxiety about food scarcity lowers morale and leads to fighting among the prison's wards, while the troops guarding the camp become increasingly aggressive. A man with a revolver declares himself lord of his ward and seizes control of food delivery, first demanding the valuables of the other wards and then forcing the women to have sex with their males. Several women grudgingly submit to being raped in order to gain requirements. The doctor's wife retaliates by killing the king with a pair of scissors when one of the women is slain by her assailant. Other raped women slip into the deceased king's ward and set it on fire, quickly engulfing the structure and killing many inmates in the process. The survivors who make it out of the building find that the guards have abandoned their stations and wander into the city. The city's inhabitants has been reduced to a meaningless zombie-like struggle for survival. The wife of a doctor guides her husband and a few others out of their ward in search of food and refuge. She stumbles onto a well-stocked basement storeroom beneath a grocery shop, barely escaping with her husband's help when the crowd around her smells the fresh food she's carrying. The doctor and his wife bring their new family to their flat, where they form a long-term bond of mutual support. Then, as quickly as his sight had been taken away, the driver, the first man to go blind, regains it, demonstrating that the body had fought off the sickness and that the blindness was just temporary. They rejoice and their faith is restored.